Hi, I'm Charles, and I'm a beekeeper that loves old beekeeping equipment. I recently purchased a Bingham Smoker on eBay. It is missing some of the parts and really is ideal for a restoration project. The original Bingham Smokers were sold from 1878 to sometime after 1910. By 1900, though, they had lost the market to smokers with larger fire chambers and tapered tops. For more than 2 decades, they were the most popular smoker on the market.
I just got this off of eBay. This is a very interesting Bingham smoker. It is definitely a Bingham. Whether it's early or late, I don't know. I have measured the fire chamber, and it is about 2 inches. So that's going to help me narrow it down. I suspect it is a model known as the Little Wonder, but there's other things that are very curious about it too. You see, this is another Bingham, a different size, a different model, and these have the little flaps on top which help direct the smoke, and they tend to have these 2 little holes in here, so the ring is right there. Now, there's no holes here, so I don't think there was ever a clip on this one. It's a little guy too, like this bellows. This is one of the smallest bellows I've ever seen. Now, I have a debate in me of, what do I do with this? Because it's missing parts, I don't think there's anything I can learn from the leather, aside from the fact that it looks like it used some type of sheep or goat leather. Would it be a bad thing for me to replace the missing parts? I don't think it would. In fact, that's what I'm going to do. We're going to clean it up. We're going to restore it and get it working again by making a new panel and new bellows. We're going to make it in the same style. I'm even going to try to preserve the nails in it. Not only does it attach with this nail that's easy enough to pull out, but it has these little twist ties, which are really typical for these smokers. They are original. There's even a little notch cut for them inside of there. I've seen them on, frankly, Binghams that come from the 1870s up into the 1900s. First is, let's see if we can get that dent out. Well, just by fooling with it gently and with a little bit of pressure, we got 90% of it out. So we are going to try to unwind these. We'll see how that goes. All right, I have the first one untwisted here, and now I'm going to try to slowly untwist it. We might break it, but this is not something I'm too concerned about. Oh, we broke it. Yeah, it's just what it is. That sucks, but it's what it is. Now, I found a way to get to these nails and kind of pry them up, because they're in there pretty tight. I just gently pried up the metal right here along the bracket, lifted it up with the screwdriver under it, and here we are. Like, you may say, oh, well, that distorted the bracket. Yes, but I'm going to fix that real quick on the anvil. Not sure if you can see it on the camera, but these are nice square nails. We'll put those right back in with a tiny bit of wood glue on them. Alright, here we go. Is it going to come off? Success. Oh, bracket's still a little attached at the top, but we'll fix that. Now, it's a little bit out of shape, and I don't like that, so put it right here. Bend it back nice and flat. You would have never known. You make sure you use a mallet instead of like a ball peen hammer or something, because the hammer will definitely leave marks in the metal. There we go. There. Nice and straight again. Never would know. Nice and shiny in there too. I kind of wonder if this isn't galvanized. Now, the best way to reveal writing is really by using a wire brush. Since that's not really rust and corrosion of why that's on, I could even try going through each one with a toothpick. That's what I would do with wood. But with metal, honestly, the brush should help us understand what it says. Let's see. There we go. go. Bingham. (1878) RL, so it has actually a little number to it. Cool. Let's clean up the rest of it. Alright, we have begun cleaning this up. I need to get back here, which I think is as simple as cutting a piece right here and just rubbing. I'm going to do that, but I'm not going to make you watch me sand the darn thing. But it's nice and clean. I kind of wonder if this whole thing is even galvanized metal, or if it's nickel plating. I don't know if they nickel plated things then. I'm actually kind of dumb when it comes to that, so let me do a little bit of research, but it's different than most other smoker metals I deal with. But here it is. Like, the thing that definitely makes me think it's nickel plated is on the inside, it has this plating. So I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So here we are. Not bad, not bad at all. Got to rebuild the bellows now. There really wasn't much aside from a little bit of tarnish on this one. Like, some people prefer it with the patina. I decided to clean it off. Now, another challenge is going to be able to get these nails out. Because those little square ones, they hold pretty well. I want to be able to get them out without breaking or cracking anything. And the thing that we notice about the bellows is that it's actually very similar to this one, where it has the black strap along it of leather. It doesn't have metal guards the way that later Bingham Smokers do, where it has bellows brackets. But this one is just, it's leather, and then it puts that black piece on top of it. You could easily crack this wood. It's not very fragile, but the force that does can be a little bit dangerous, because see, we gutted it around here and now it's sticking a little bit out, and I could actually get some pliers on it now, and let's see what happens. Ah, here we are, and the nail is perfectly straight because I pulled it out straight, and we can reuse the nail. Here we go. Let's try to pull some of these guys out. Now, another tactic I've used, especially in situations where things were a lot more fragile, you may have a little bit of rotten wood, and it's up to you if you want to preserve that or not, or cut it down and then patch it or whatever. But there's also the option of where you could nail these nails in hard and then just do your work on top of it. I don't want to do that because I think I can actually preserve the nails, and I would strongly prefer that. One of the most important things too is the bottom is there, and that's very good because the bottom here, that tells me how wide the smoker was. And this is probably very similar to a smoker bellows I already have for my AI Root Junior. And if it's the same dimensions and the same gap, I can make a template for the leather that is really solid. I'm going to sand this down, which has a bit of a dual purpose. This is covered in rabbit skin glue, and if it gets warm again, it's going to reactivate the glue. So we kind of want to get that off, and we're going to use something synthetic. Give this a quick sanding. There we are, nice and smooth. Now, getting it smooth wasn't necessarily my goal here. My goal is to get a surface that, one, doesn't have the old glue on it, and two, once I sand down the edges here, they will take leather glue a lot easier, because that's primarily what I use. Right here is some leathercraft glue. We're going to mix a little bit of this in water to cut it down, and use some of this wooden furniture soap to clean this up. Once again, if there's a stamp or something on here or something painted, do not use that. Ask me how I know. Now this is it before we clean it, and here it is now. How does that look? I love that this tells a story, because this bellows, this is the back of it, and he or she put their fingers right here, and it's stained because of the propolis and dirt and stuff. And so they were pumping this smoker, holding it right here. I really love seeing that. Now the AI Root Junior Smoker, or the Junior Cornel, it's the littlest guy in my collection, especially among old antique smokers. Now this guy isn't too far from it, really. Without the brackets, it's less than 4 inches. This is exactly 4 inches across. So I'm going to have to grab a part smoker and probably cut down an old one like this to this size, because I would hate to use a new piece of wood for that, because it's going to clash. So this Woodman Bingham, it is going to die so that this smoker may live. I'm pretty sure I also have some old bed springs that I can use, because the spring for this would be too big. I could snip it a little higher up, but there wouldn't be much spring to it. We have a roadmap for the size of spring we're looking for, because it's straight up ingrained on the smoker. There we go. It's about 2 inches. So we want one that's about that diameter. It can be a little bit larger, because it's going to be in the smoker and no one's going to see it. But that's about the size we're looking for. And these aren't super rare, but they're kind of rare now. So I don't want to sacrifice the life of this kind of smoker to save this one. This one is infinitely more rare than this one. So we'll find a substitute. Well, a Woodman Bingham smoker died so that we could have its spring and that we could have its bellows panel. What we're going to do is we're going to cut it down to the proper size, and I'm going to gently pull off this bracket because the bracket's in really good shape and we could use it for other smokers. Here we are. Now we do have the same thickness here. Now we have our 2 panels right here. So we are going to sand this one down because I really don't like the green on there. And I'm not sure if that was something that was put on it to protect it ages ago and it just discolored. And it's actually really common on Woodman Bingham smokers. I'm not sure if it's something they treated with them that just discolors over time, like a varnish or something. I have this one cut, and it's not exactly the height of this one, but in fairness, it goes on the inside of the smoker. So I'm going to put a little wood glue, put some old nails in here to attach this, and then we have our panel. All right, flip this guy over. Needs to be flush right about here. All right. And now my trick to getting these really small nails in there without hitting my own fingers. We actually are going to start with the center one right here. And I'm actually reusing the nails that came from this donor smoker. Oh, that's a little too close to the edge. I really don't like that. Let's back up. There we are. Because this is very thin wood, we will split that. So I'm going to try again. Alright, let's make sure that we got it lined up like we want it. Okay. Now I can actually press its own pressure to get it in there. These are nails that come from the donor smoker. Now we have our panel, but it's going to need some sanding. I hate that greening in the back. Here we are. I'm going to attach the smoker to this back plate here. You may ask the question of how do you know it goes on the back plate and not the front plate of the smoker? Well, different smokers do it different ways. The way I cheat is I look at another Bingham Smoker through the inlet hole right there, and it tells me. I have seen a couple restoration videos, not on antique smokers, but on smokers in general, where they glued this in instead of using some type of fastener. That's a really poor idea. I assure you it's a very, very poor idea. Eventually the spring could kind of stick together because in the smoker it should be just relaxed. Like there should be a tiny bit of tension, but if you use glue, one, it's going to eventually fail, and two, I really think that you might glue the spring together if it stays compressed for long enough. So this here is what we want to see. We want to see this being pushed together and it being able to squeeze, which it is. Like, that is about the right length too that it should come in for being squeezed. Because the bellows will start here, and here we have our template, and this right here is our new piece of leather. I'm using goat, which appears to be on, frankly, a lot of smokers from that era, including some of these Bingham Smokers. So ordered some goat leather. I want to point out that I'm using the original nails for the bellows. Alright, there we are. I may put additional ones in between here. We'll see how many original nails I have left. Now, doing this part after you attach the first one, attaching the second, it's a little bit annoying, and unfortunately, the better your template is, the less giving it is. Here we are. We're halfway there, and I do need to do a little stretching of the leather to make this correct. But we are more correct than incorrect thus far, so let's do it. Alright, here we are. Now, one more thing I want to do is, this one had this same kind of lace that follows along. We're going to add some of that. Now we're going to use this right here. Well, it seems like that. And here we are, this beauty. Oh, that's a lot of air coming out of there. That's good. That's good. Alright, let's start to complete our assembly. We gotta line that up with the nail hole that it once had, which I believe is right there. Here we go. We are almost there. We need to reinsert these twist tie things. You saw I snapped them, but they have a lot of extra length to them. So we're going to put those back on right now. So the first one is back on. Let me check. I'm trying to find the second one. I'm not sure if I snapped it or it went flying or something. Worst case scenario, I can cut a piece of wire that's about the same and it wouldn't be too recognizable. But I would rather have the original piece there. And we have the bottom one in. I'm really happy to see that. It has barely enough, but it has enough. I am very proud of this smoker. It has come out very well. I can already hear air piping through it, so it's actually a really good smoker. Not a lot of fuel for the fuel chamber, but that was typical with the early Binghams and Quimbies. This is probably very similar to what it looked like. I would presume that the leather probably wasn't dyed, but we kind of don't know because the leather can really fade over time, and it can turn black into a dark brown, especially a lot of the older leather dyes. But it's in good shape. I really love looking at it. It's hard to tell. It's another smoker piece on the back. It's using the original type of leather that these were using at the time, and that it was using because we had a little bit left over. We put the leather brackets on. The leather brackets, they were used earlier. Like, this isn't a super early one. This is probably in 1890s or maybe late 1880s, but definitely not after 1900, because it seems like after 1900 they moved to metal brackets, and those metal brackets were on the first Woodman Bingham Smokers. All right, here we go. Take the top off because this guy doesn't have a hinge to it. I'm gonna push that in there. I don't have my hive tool to jam it in there for me, so beg your indulgence. And we'll put the rest of this guy in there. Let's pop it on because we don't need a lot of smoke. Actually, I kind of like this because it's a beautiful sight to see a smoker that is just bellowsing smoke, but honestly, sometimes a tiny bit of smoke is all you need. And this will give that to you. Now, your fuel is not going to last very long. These Little Wonder smokers were often advertised just like the Root Juniors, where it's for somebody with 1 or 2 hives, maybe 3 or 4, but it's cool for such a tiny smoker. It has a pretty good draft to it. Impressive. Well, I want to tell you guys thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.